Greetings, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the Singapore International Chamber of Commerce webinar powered by our Tech Transformation Resource Group. It's a pleasure to be here with you all, and I was seeing over 40 people participating right now, and I think they're still trickling in. So let us all now kick off. 2025 was a very defining year for digital transformation. What used to be competitive advantage has now become a business imperative. Across sectors and across companies of every size, we've seen organizations embrace AI, cloud technologies, and automation at unprecedented speed. Some have achieved remarkable breakthroughs. Others ran into very real roadblocks. And if there is one clear lesson from 2025, it is technology alone does not guarantee success. People, culture, and leadership matter just as much. So today's session brings together a very distinguished panel, all comprising members of our Chamber's Tech Transformation Resource Group, business leaders who have been in the tech trenches of change. They will share personal and very candid stories of what they've seen as what genuinely worked, what did not, and what they wish they had known sooner. From AI pilots that didn't land to cultural shifts and capability investments, everything that unlocked new levels of innovation. We hope today you will take away practical insights, which you can apply immediately, and perhaps get a head start of the new year 2026. So friends, let's sit back and enjoy an energizing and forward-looking conversation with our distinguished panel. Allow me now to introduce our co-chair of this resource group, Mr. Jiri Pig. Jiri is the CEO and Chief AI Strategist of RecordAge.com. Jiri, please.
Thank you so much, Vita. Welcome everybody to our webinar. My name is Jumpstart Pte. I'm the founder and CEO of Rocket Edge. The objective of our today's seminar is to discuss why technological transformation is a non-stop process. It's not a one-off event. In fact, in 2025, digital transformation became a must. It's a not choice. Automation is mainstream, but what really distinguishes automation and transformation is the leadership. The problem with technology is that it's shifting too fast. And the question is how to address it in the business world. In Singapore and elsewhere, most companies have experimented with AI and various types of technologies. However, very few of them have turned technology into measurable ROI. The principal message of technological transformation is the real transformation, like Beta said, is not a single factor result of technology or people or processes or data. It's a combination of all of these factors together. And it's not a linear combination, it's a complex exponential transformation. Today's goal of the presentation you are going to see is to move whether we should transform to how it is, how we should transform and share the best practices. In today's session, we are going to listen and see three presentations. First one from Frank Lee of GDI, who is going to focus on strategy, where the AI is delivering immediate ROI and the typical roadblocks. Second presentation is about real-world implementation from Audrey of Fennech. She's going to talk about a very restricted transformation in a regulated industry. And we end up with a presentation on capability building or culture from Ashley Yeo. Frank, please.
All right, thank you, Jiri. Let me share my screen right now. Do everybody see my screen right now? Okay, great. Hi, my name is Frank. I'm from JDI, short for Jumpstart Disruptive Innovations. Very glad to be able to present to you some of my learnings over the years in the AI space itself. A bit of introduction. JDI is a venture catalyst. We've been helping many tech and innovation companies to grow and scale their tech and development as such. right? We do innovation across stages from ideation all the way to Series A, and even work with corporates and governments for some of their innovation through 5 different verticals that we have in the tech development space, in the talent space, in the market access space, in the fundraising space, and building new ventures together, right? So our involvement in AI has been really working with the tech and innovation companies. We've been building enterprise web agents, AI for eKYC, chatbots, agentic AI, some of the newer stuff, matching algorithm, analytics for healthcare, etc. We have also invested into AI companies in across business functions as well as industry. Note that I split our investment into 2 different types of companies in AI because that is what we see in the future, right? We see that there's AI across the business functions like marketing, sales, finance, HR, and office, and all these are possible adoption technologies, AI tools for companies. We also see industry-specific AI solutions. We have done construction and wealth management. There is also for fintech. Later on, you may hear from some of our speakers about the AI initiatives they have done in their industry itself. Right, so because of our involvement in AI, we do hold from time to time events. We are active between Singapore and Vietnam. We work with the big tech companies, NVIDIA, AWS, Google, etc., to bring together thought leaders in the AI space so they can share with the industry. Right, so very fast moving forward, what do we see now as measurable value of AI? So basically, I think AI adoption has always been very curvy, right? There are easy things to adopt, the lowest hanging fruit. So I think the lowest hanging fruit is what all of us should and need to explore because those are easy adoption targets and it give you immediate value. But of course, there are other things which is harder to adopt and takes more time to spin up adoption. So this is more like the strategy of how you should. Let's go for the easiest, lowest hanging fruit first. So for what we see out there, generative AI Copilot is really pretty standard nowadays if you're not using that already, because AI is embedded across in Microsoft 365, Google Suite, Salesforce, Adobe, right? Immediate adoption of this generative AI Copilot will give you the efficiency gain, helping you to draft emails, helping you to draft LinkedIn posts, summarizing meetings, generating code, and creating marketing content. In fact, JDI, we are also using all of this internal. I think this is generally across most companies, you will see immediate adoption so that you can free up humans for higher value strategic work. So yeah, for JDI, we use Google Suite. Inside, we have our Google Chat. In Google Chat, we have deployed Agentic AI bots to basically, if you are doing a claim, you don't need to talk to finance anymore. You can talk to the bot, submit that, and that will automatically trigger a whole process flow to the finance team for your grant, for your claims, right? So as you are adopting this, the next level of things you can adopt is really hyper-personalization. Is that we are seeing more tools to help you to do a hyper-personalization at scale. These will immediately help you in sales and customer service because over here, I put over here a list of 16 tools, and there's a lot more tools out there that is more that you have to go and evaluate one by one to see how it sits in together with your sales process. So because of the ability to hyper-personalize messages, content at scale, right? It helps you to really reduce your cost of handling customers, right? Even for sales itself, it can generate sales messages for you, very customized to your specific ICPs or even the customer itself. You can see, oh, this customer is coming from which vertical, which industry, which country, and therefore customize your message so that it feels very personalized. We also see that's seen across chatbot and talkbot as well. We are pretty close to a company called Wiz.ai. So they do all the multilingual support. So let's say they do sales call, like in 10 sales call out there, 9 of them, you will not be able to tell it's coming from 90% of the time, you will not be able to tell that it's actually a bot. You will think that it's actually a human behind the scene. They have done it for all the big banks and the fintech companies for all that. Right, so I encourage all of you to explore sales because that is one of the easiest adoption and you will see immediate revenue or cost saving. The next area is really more marketing side. So other than sales, yeah, marketing. Marketing is because of the content generation. Same thing, all the copy, all the emails can be written by that for your sales, your marketing team to just go in and review instead of having to generate from scratch. What takes 2 days may now be in 10 minutes time, you can get it out of there. There's tons of tools out there. We can talk into more details about the tools that's relevant for you. So JDI also, we uses that for a lot of our copywriting in LinkedIn messages, in content pieces that we roll out every week. So it really increases our ability to generate personalized content. So it's really better, cheaper, faster, and more. So yeah, I will encourage all your marketing to start looking at AI tools for digital marketing if they have not been looking at that yet. So other than going through this generated co-pilot, the sales tools and the marketing tools, the next step of adoption would be more towards the data where you need to read more data within the company, like where you need to pulling out invoices, generating your contracts and reports, etc. Because this is a bit harder to incorporate within your organization, simply because you need more data to be input into the system, which is basically one of the things that we'll talk about later, right? If you do adopt that, you would find that you will have a drastic reduction in back office processing times, finance, HR, and supply chain, right? So yeah, so these are, I would recommend that going into these areas from the lowest to the higher hanging fruits to get out there. So next I go to talk about the biggest hurdles of adoption of AI and how to overcome them, right? Of course, that's only after you explore all the Gen AI, all the sales and marketing tools, right? That's when you start to think, how can you integrate AI more into your company? That's where you hit some of the hurdles, like Peter has mentioned, right? There's people issues. When we talk to organizations, there is always the fear and the trust gap from the people itself, like what will happen to my job? Am I going to be redundant after this? Will AI really work better? Is it reliable? What if it hallucinates? Who's going to take the blame if something goes wrong over there, right? So for all those are fear elements, which it is very in the short term, but it should not stop your adoption in the long run. So what we do basically for that is we're telling all our clients as well as the people coming on board that this is AI enablement of roles. We need to tell them, if you are sales, we're not going to replace you, but we need you to be able to use these tools so that it can enable you to do more things out there. So the messaging from the top down should be AI enablement, not to replace roles. And we drive for the lowest hanging fruits, as we have seen just now, going for the Gen AI co-pilot, then into sales and marketing tools. Those will see you immediate gains. And from that, it's easier for you to get the rest of your team to believe in AI and therefore adopt AI. So it's also important to drive a culture of productivity and innovation. For JDI ourselves, for all our work town halls, our internal huddles, we always ask them to think about productivity and innovation. We talk to them about what is the latest AI tools that some of our other departments are using, so that it can make them think more about how they can also adopt AI within the organization. The next issue we have is AI fluency, like who understands the business and AI together, because you need that both understanding of business and AI to really implement, right? So a lot of time we cannot overcome that. We either bring in external consultants or we train up some of our internal actors to be champions of AI, right? For example, I can get your HR director or HR may assign one person who is more who is able to learn AI more and figure out what tools are out there, and then use that agent of change to bring in innovation. So where can then we also go through a deep search of a problem solution fit. Don't adopt AI simply as a solution when you don't have a problem, because the cost of adoption AI is not going to be low, right? So really we got to approach it from a problem basis, like what areas in the company do you think there's a problem for you to make things better? Is it increasing sales? Is it there's a lot of process to be automated? That's when you can come in to bring in AI. So same thing, yeah, we need to driving a culture of productivity and innovation is also by sending your team for AI courses, which I think if you're at Singapore Skills Future, there's a lot of that, right, to send them out for. There's the next thing we see is basically there's change fatigue. There's so many AI tools out there coming out fast and furious, right? So much changes and AI really move too fast. Again, take a step back. We drive for the what can give you the lowest hanging fruits, the immediate increase in productivity first, and adopt this. So same thing, driving a culture of change is important so that we can do that. It is true that there's a lot of tools out there. It is the starting, I would say, starting plus phase of all the AI tools out there. So yeah, we all have to try and navigate ourselves through this AI. The next hurdle you will see is also after the people is really data processes and integration. Yeah, but I think Ashley will be able to share more later on during his presentation. It's really at this point of time, what data do you have? If you're going to do more integration in between your company and AI, you need to be able to give data from your company. But if all your data is like residing everywhere in different folders, and if your processes are not really streamlined and you're everything working on a just-in-time basis, it's pretty hard for you to try to go into adopt AI simply because you need that data and that process to be able to give the AI something to work on. Otherwise, it'll be garbage in, garbage out, no processes. Then they don't know, AI would not be able to give you something that is suitable. You may come up with even more issues, right, than solution. So some of the solution is you have to go and look at your data first to be able to structure your data, invest in the modern data strategy, find a chief data officer or get external consultant to come in to drive the culture of data ownership. Processes-wise is also a case where we talk to our clients, they don't really understand their process, their sales process, because they are just everything can do, we do, right? So that is a time to spend, it's time to spend some time to understand and document your internal processes before you go agentic, right? Because you need to tell the agentic, like, what is your process flow so that they can follow it. Otherwise, everybody's going to be affected simply because that they don't follow any right processes, right? Yeah, so if you either spend time to understand internal processes or you drop everything and then you try to have a squad team over there to start an AI first process re-engineering journey. Sometimes that makes sense because this is going to be a disruptive flow, right? With AI coming in, you don't want to affect current processes. You let the current process run. You run a AI first team that look at trying to streamline and then create a new process. Like for sales, it could be AI driven first, look at the tools out there, find consultants who has done AI journey before and try to do that process re-engineering journey so that we can skip some of the old manual processes into new process directly. The last thing is really the integration of the last mile. A lot of the AI doing tools that we see, they will not be able to integrate with existing ERP, CRM, right? Because the ERP, CRM it's not AI first. They're not AI ready. It's very structured data. In that case, yeah, the integration would be really problematic. So that part we have to see. ERP and CRMs will evolve to be able to incorporate more. So we can adopt an AI first mindset as well. We can take a look at see how we can adopt new AI already enabled CRMs, process ERPs to see whether it makes sense for you to jump into these new tools directly. But of course, there's a transition cost for you to move from the old ERP to the new ERP or CRM. This really comes down to the actual problems at hand for you to figure out the cost and effort of doing that integration. The last thing I will talk more on is basically, hello, mic test. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So the last thing that we talk about is basically the talent gap has shifted. So we need more AI translators who understand technology and business to do the bridging. Right. For JDI, as a case study, we have also implemented our ATS. For ourselves, we have a recruitment team. They do recruitment for tech companies. So we have applied an AI-based ATS. We dropped down our Zoho Recruit applicant tracking system to apply AI. So our pathway to adoption was really, we try to drive the culture of change by talking about AI and adoption in every town hall and leaders gathering, regular sharing of AI success, champions and wins of adoption between the different functions. We talk about AI enablement. We tell our recruiters we're not going to replace them. We are just making sure that they have a new skill set of using AI-based ATS to increase candidate turnaround time. And of course, better placement means their commission increases directly. So they're all very eager to employ new technology. So when we employ this AI system called Talent Force itself within our team, we have to go and evaluate what kind of AI tool is suitable for us. We had to go through that evaluation process. My head of recruitment comes in and look from the market what's suitable. And after we have found out the price, the cost, and the processes all fit us, we had to do that data migration, moving all our candidate employee database from the Google Drive and Zoho Recruit into the system itself. That takes some time, but after all that, we find that there's really an efficiency increase. We're able to turn around much faster for our clients when we talk about recruitment of tech talents in Vietnam. So after that, we do an ongoing evaluation of before and after in terms of revenue, in terms of job placement plays, some KPIs, so that we can document this out as a good success case. Then I can push to all my other business unit to say, hey, we have a successful adoption of an AI system. Let's see how we can implement this in other BUs. Right. So part 3, I'll move this very fast. Basically, we are going to be, AI is not going to stop. It's not a fad that will go away. So for preparing for 2026, we will see that there's going to be more AI agents out there. That we are also helping some companies to build their own software to produce more autonomous AI agents. We are also going to be seeing more industry-specific foundation models. In the finance industry, in the construction industries, in the biomedical industries, right? In that case, data is going to be very important because these are all industry-specific data that will help you to build up your core capabilities. So this would, for most companies, this would be their internal GPTs already to build their competitive mode against other competitors. Right. We also see that these are some of the things you will see as consumers out there or business people out there. We are going to see more robotics adoption. We already had the fully autonomous warehouses. There's going to be more of that. Where the factories manufacturing, we're going to see dark factories whereby everything is computer trained, IoT enabled. You don't need people to manage it. That's why you don't even need the lights for that. We're going to see smarter logistics and supply chain. We're going to see in China, they have already rolled out the robotics autonomous vehicles. So we will see more of that being adopted. So with all these trends going on, as leaders in the physical industries, we need to look at AI adoption more or risk being left behind. Right. So I think that's all on my side. Maybe I will pass over to Audrey from Fennech. Hi, Audrey.
Thank you, Frank. Hi, everybody. My name is Audrey from Fennech. So I'm the CEO of Fennech Singapore and the chair of Fennech Group. Today, I really would like to share with you our genuine, candid journey through AI when we were at a turning point. So I'll go from how we used to work, the traditional tech, how we decided to modernize, what was really the turning point with AI, and how we adopted Agentic AI. Next slide, please. So what is Fennech? Who are we? Officially, we are called a treasury tech infrastructure provider, but doesn't mean a lot to most of the people. So we are a technology company. What we do is we build the pipes and engines that help companies moving and managing their money with agility, flexibility, and control. So how money is paid out, how the cash is moved around, how the liquidity is controlled, everything automatically. So we work for a company of all size, from SMEs to mid corporates, large corporate, financial institutions, or bank, from any country, any region, or any currency. Why? It's because money is money. And all companies have an urgent need to keep their treasury under control. So until 2024, we used to have models that were called deterministic expert systems. What is that? In other words, is you tell the machine, if this happens, then you do that. So the humans write the rules, the system applies them very fast, and it's very consistent. And on top of that, we used to add machine learning and deep learning. What does it mean is the models learn from data, from past data to predict patterns and make smarter decisions. So for example, guessing how to match a payment to an invoice. So that was before 2024. But in 2024, we got some business pressure, like all the fintechs, startups, starting companies. Our investors took more time to put money in. So we had less cash available and we had to reduce costs to keep the firm afloat. Even with less money, we still had to keep innovating. So build new features, new tech, and grow the revenue. So still investing in salespeople, sell more, bring in more clients. 2025, the beginning of the year, we had some excitement around the new strategic trends of AI. It was about generative AI, but at the same time, people were saying, the experts were saying, it's too big, it's not realistic. we're going to have a slowdown. They call that the winter phase. The next step, they said it would be more than chatbots that generate text, but AI agents that can plan, decide, and act on task end to end. And then they were saying, the expert, that from 2027 onwards, software built with heavy use of AI tools and agents will evolve faster and cheaper than the system that were traditionally used until now. So we started to think, okay, what are the problems we are solving and what result do we want for our clients? And start to anticipate the trends so that we are ahead of the curve and not behind the curve. Next slide, please. So now the fun begins, because when we started to say, okay, we need to adopt AI wave. I remind you that AI is machine learning, deep learning, but the agentic AI was really the revolution. So we started to see a lot of interesting behaviors, to say the least. We applied what we call the 3 A's strategy. Accept, it is coming, you don't have the choice. Attack, you need to attack it upfront. And adopt, because otherwise, either we're staying ahead of the game or we're out. So we initially start to bring all the colleagues, and we spend time in meetings and workshops talking about what we wanted to do with AI, trying to define the big vision. But underneath the big words, the real goal was really basic. How can we use AI so people can work faster and better? Remind you, I told you earlier that we had cost constraints and budget constraints. There was a lot of inertia and fear of the unknown. So it took a long time. When I say long time in the fintech world, is roughly 2 to 3 months for people to even start a small time-limited test with IT. People kept delaying decisions. Why? Is because many people were not at ease with AI, or simply because they didn't want to change how they work. We often say human nature hate change, right? So things were moving slowly. Funny enough, the first group of people who started to adopt AI were at the front side of the company, the people in strategy, marketing, and in sales, for ideas, for content, for research, not the IT team, even though we were expecting the IT team to lead. And then they started to, these front people, they started to experiment new tools to put together documents, to summarize them, to turn content into audio podcast, to understand topics, to summarize long text, to create short videos. So it was really marketing, sales, and strategy driven. What did we learn from that phase? Or what did I learn, at least? Is that the tools, as Frank was saying earlier, tools are immensely powerful. But then the other side of the coin, it can generate too much content, and people get totally buried in documents and lose the main message of it. When someone likes a tool and use AI to create a long deck or a very thorough report very fast, the rest of the team doesn't have the time to read it. And we saw that the collaboration between people was suffering. The third thing I would say is if you trust AI blindly and you don't check, you've got small mistake, what we call hallucination, right, of AI. So when the small mistake starts to stack up, it becomes a big problem, both in decision and in teamwork. Another lesson was writing good prompts helps, but it's not magic. If you don't have the basic understanding of how AI works, it's going to be wrong or biased. And the last thing is, like everything in life, everyone has their favorite app or their favorite tool. And then it starts to create a messy setup within the company, different tools, different accounts, extra costs, and no smooth end-to-end workflow. Next slide, please. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more in people and resistance and control. When we came to IT, and they were a little bit lagging behind it, they were worried that AI take their jobs, as simple as that. And sooner than later, it would replace them. Some of our senior engineers, they were very confident in their skills, but suddenly they felt lost with the AI tools, and they felt that they had to start again from zero. And the problem was not that people are not smart or are too old. It's just because they had not been trained in the new way of working with AI, not against it. So with the leadership team, what we did is we started to put some training in place to make them more comfortable. And while we were doing that, the IT started to use AI slowly to help them write small pieces of codes or fix syntax, create documentation, or review bugs in our core system. But the problem is, even when they started to slowly adopt AI, the same process stayed the same. So same meetings, same steps, same habits, just with an extra tool on the side. So instead of talking to AI in a simple language, some of our developers were actually writing long, rigid prompts, almost like a code spec. So it was costly because, remember, AI prompts, some application charge you by the prompt. So it became costly, hard to change, and not very adaptable. And as we were in this phase of adoption, remember that I told you in 2024, we had to be very, very cost conscious to keep the company afloat. So the result of that was the gains were pretty small. I mean, massive on the front end, but on the IT side, it was pretty small, a bit faster here and there, but nothing transformative, really. We asked, or they were asking for too many things in single prompt. So the AI was really likely to invent or get things wrong, and again, starts to hallucinate, as I was saying earlier. So collectively, we decided to create some rules that we need to ask the prompt and to train the AI one clear ask at a time. This is where, as the management team, we saw a massive need for governance. And that was a hard lesson for us because we came from enthusiasm to some fear, to some adoption, and some other that were just trying. But we had no governance because it was new for everyone. So we needed a clear list of tools that people can use or cannot use. We also had to define what information can be put into AI so that we also avoid leaking information, client information or company data out there. And we needed also rules and practices to check the output in order to avoid having the wrong information ending up into the code, the reports, or the client-facing material. So our response to this outcome was, okay, we are going to write clear rules on how to use AI in the company, what's allowed, what's forbidden, and what is expected from everyone. One clear direction for everyone. And before a new AI tool is adopted, it's not going to go through a thorough review. It's going to check security, data handling, costs, usefulness, and then approve or reject it. So now we are arriving at a point where we have a clear direction for the entirety of the company. So people are clear on what is expected from them. Next slide, please. How did we then move to proper agentic AI work? Again, at the management team, we started to create an AI advisory board of agents that mimic people like real people on on subject as diverse as strategy, ethics, treasury, marketing, go-to-market, B2B fintech sales, capital raising, VC, product design, and we added one contrarian. What we call the contrarian is someone who's going to show us what not to do. Someone who's going to be so bold that he's going to be hated in the industry. Someone who's going to have failed so much that we know what not to do. So we created all these agents, Agentic AI agents, and we created a board where everyone could have access to it and ask any prompt that would help them in their either day-to-day work or in their strategy. And that led to a big improvement in both the quality and the speed of our strategic documents, the market analysis, or the tailor-made client proposal. That taught us how to now be able to create an agentic layer on top of our IT development and deployment. Agent. So from this board of advisory, I didn't tell you, but from this board, we created many agents within the company per vertical, so IT, marketing, sales, and we created many more. And then we had agents working with our actual staff, and the agents could be quick, concise, massively efficient, but always under the supervision of proper human. Our human who had the expertise of what we were doing. So the domain experts, the humans, were slowly shifting from doing the work themselves to managing and reviewing what the agents were producing. So there was less manual production, more critical thinking and decision-making. Not, to tell you the truth, not everyone was comfortable with this shift at first, but it forces all of us, from the developers to the marketing team to us as senior management to the compliance officer. So it forces everyone to adopt it, because we had initially put that into the alignment and the strategy of the firm. And it also forced us to review the proper role of all of our employees and the required skills. Sorry. But what it brought as an outcome is actually we went from project timelines from quarters to weeks, because we were using the efficiency of the agents supervised by humans with decision-making process made by humans. So we were winning on all fronts. How we delivered it, combining our initial traditional IT stack with these agents, and we gave clients smarter solution, quicker solution. Our clients, because we are talking about the principle of our job is money, so we have regulatory and fiduciary duties toward our clients that were also themselves regulated in some of the case. So we had to design systems with compliance, trust, transparency. And thanks to MAS fit type of approaches, for instance, we incorporated these principles into our Agentic AI to start with. And then we started to expand across the whole company. So we used agents in accounting, consolidation, cash forecasting, product marketing, and name them. We also built compliance and audit agents that continuously check and follow our internal policies. And I remind you, our internal policies are also backed by the regulator policies. In operations, we treated agents like human team member. They get training, they have KPIs, we monitor them, restrict them, and adjust them if they misbehave. For instance, if they make too many errors or if the output is bad. But we never handed the principal task of management and supervision to agents. The humans keep them in control, and we keep sorry, it's my alarm. And we keep training our people. So next slides, please. and I finish on that. Today, with a team of 20 people, we are producing the equivalent of what a team of 70 people could deliver in a traditional setup as we were before 2025. That is increase has been done in around 8 months. Our key learnings in literally 3 points is agentic AI must be business-led, not tool-led. The value comes from changing rules and operating model, not from automation alone. And the last one that is the most important that I'd like to share with you as a key learning is governance and compliance are enablers, not brakes. If your company is based on governance, compliance, and strong rules, then you can apply extra help through agents monitored by humans, and it's a win at all times. You can reach out to me. You've got my details. It was a pleasure to share with you my candid experience over the last few hectic months. And now I'm going to pass over to Ashley.
Hello, everyone. Give me a moment while I share my screen. All right, can everyone see my screen? And can everyone hear me? All right, cool. So I just want to start by saying I'm going to repeat what both Audrey and Frank have already said. Okay? It is, I think what you've heard them say, it's very clear that automation, that transformation is the way ahead, right? They both shared, they both shared how they've done it. But if this has already convinced you all that you all need to transform, which I'm sure you all have, right? What I want to do is actually bring you all down the journey of how to prepare yourself and what to expect when you're going to embark on it. Right? Also, my slides are not going to be as pretty, right? But I believe everything I'm going to tell you all will support it. Okay. So, quick thing about me, right? I'm the city manager for Le Wagon Singapore. Le Wagon Singapore themselves, we've been involved in helping from individuals to transit in the tech landscape, up to companies as well. So we've been involved in transformation for a long time, right? Myself, I started as a web developer, right? So again, helping individuals, digitalize all the way up to helping MNCs transform their digital footprint as well. Right? I've also been so in love with automation and helping people transform that I've opened up an automation agency called Rockly. And as you can see, I'm doing a lot of things. Right? So to keep myself sane and to help me stay organized, I'm also building my own AI product that's helping me to focus, right? And really get everything that I need to get done, be done. So yes, that's about me. Small overachiever, I think. For the contents, we're going to look at the history of transformation, because I think for us to actually take the step forward into the modern age of transformation, and you'll see how I support Frank and Audrey a lot. We have to understand how things have transformed and changed to the way they are now, right? So once we understand the history of transformation, we're going to look at how the modern transformation looks like with generative AI coming in. And then after that, how are we going to prepare your team for transformation, right? It's a huge mindset shift. Okay, so I think the transformative eras that everyone is probably familiar with, I'm going to move quite quickly through this. Just in case people don't know, we've got the digitization era, digitalization era, and then after that, we're now in the digital transformation era. But I also feel currently, while we are in this transformation era, we are actually shifting into a new era, which is the digital augmentation era, which the same thing like what Audrey has said, what Frank has said, a lot of agentic stuff here. Right? More than just rule-based deterministic flows, we are moving to non-deterministic stuff as well. Okay? So what was digitization? Basically, just moving all the data we had from one medium to another. Right? From paper, we are moving to PDF. Right? From images, we are moving on into online formats, JPEG, PNG. Everything just moving from physical into a digital medium. But if we're looking at processes and everything, that all stays the same, right? So that was the process of digitization. But because all our data was now online, it allowed it allowed people to create processes. It allowed people to create products, right? It allowed people to utilize this data to streamline some processes, right? So for example, we had Excel for data storage, right? Or everyone had all these images now. They wanted a space online to store this. Dropbox, Google Drive came up with solutions. Gmail, HubSpot for all these kind of online data management softwares, right? So because of the technologies of that time, we were able to speed up all these processes and streamline all the processes with technology using our data, right? At this point now, we have what we call the pillars of transformation, right? We had all the data online, we had technology that was constantly shifting, we had the processes defined, and finally we had the people who were the ones using these processes, right? And with these pillars of transformation, you can then actually take a look at your company and everything as a whole and decide, okay, how can we improve things? Right? Rather than just streamlining processes now, like how can we change things? How can we transform these processes based on the data we have, the technology we have, the processes we have defined, right? And that's when we moved into the age of digital transformation, right? For example, DBS was one of the examples I had where previously from manually approving all your credit scores and everything when you're applying for something, it became digitalized, streamlined, transformed, and it became almost immediate, right? Same thing with Singapore Airlines scheduling. They used to schedule everything manually, but then they moved on to online and the scheduling became more efficient. The scheduling became quicker, right? There was less crossovers. So that's how the transformation age was. Okay. Now, how does Gen AI change this whole thing? Right, when Gen AI was introduced, the main thing about transformation is that the products were all written by programmers before, right? So that was all gatekept by people who knew how to code, which made up about 0.5% of the population. And that's why so many people wanted to learn how to code before, right? On the business end and the individuals end, we were all constrained to what the developers could do, what the products could do. So we would take the products and we try to change our business or whatever our business could change to those products, right? But with Gen AI now, it's no longer gatekept by development, right? Gen AI has become like everyone can use Gen AI, and with the tools now, right? They've made agents, they've made all these agentic processes democratized for everyone to use as well, which means it's no longer the transformative power is no longer in the hands of programmers, right? They're in the hands of everyone. It's in the hands of people who know their processes. It's in the hands of people who know these tools, and if they can marry them together, then they become the ones who can effect the most effective change. Right? So, for example, and that's where work gets augmented, right? Where I'm offloading all the grunt work. Right? I'm no longer just saying, okay, this is one, we add them together, it becomes two, right? It's become like it's opened up a whole like sea of opportunities, right? We can get Gen AI to generate ideas for us, right? We can get drafts in minutes rather than working with a lot of people to get everything done in days, right? People need to sleep, agents don't, right? We've got 24/7 monitoring, immediate feedback. We have all these things that actually augment the way processes and people work together with technology. Okay. All right, so that's just a quick history. But what does that look from a company? And this is where I'm going to bring in all the pain points that I have felt. All the pain points I felt while learning, while trying to transit the wagon as well. Right? First and foremost, as you've heard all of them say, data is everything. Okay, it starts with data. This whole process started with digitization as well, right? So Frank mentioned garbage in, garbage out, right? If your data is not pristine, right, your AI is not going to be able to function properly, right? You could make everything clean. You could make your whole AI trained on okay, when you receive an apple, I want you to tell me the shape and everything. Then suddenly the data comes in and you receive a cat, right? Your whole AI falls apart, right? So data is everything. You got to make sure that your all your data sets, everything that your AI or your automations are using is pristine, right? Everything is expected. So what you're going to see as we go down these few points, right, is that if we decide that we want to go down this transformation route, in this day and age, what we're going to have to do essentially is to do a full company audit, a full company process audit. I think if you heard what Audrey said just now, a lot of it was, sitting down, talking, and figuring out what we want to do, and then after that realizing that, okay, actually we just want to drive value from here. We want to speed up this process here, right? What are all the processes we use and everything? It boils down to what your processes are, what your people are good at as well, right? So first thing we do is data. Second thing, well-defined processes. Okay, this goes in line with what Frank was saying about low-hanging fruit as well. Right? If you really can define your processes, right, you can identify what are the quickest things you want to automate first. What are the things that are not going to really, what are the things that are not going to cause massive changes, right? One of the biggest fallacies is automating new processes in the hope of results. Okay, what happened with me in the wagon is I wanted to be able to achieve a lot of things. And I predicted that, okay, if we do this process this way, it's going to help return my ROI by 10x, right? Because I don't have to do this anymore. But the thing is, I've never done it before. So when I did that whole process, it was just, I imagined things were going to be this way. And there were a lot of things I couldn't foresee, right? People started asking my agent questions, which I didn't imagine. Things like I required documents that I didn't think I would need at that point of time. And it was very difficult to move to production. So well-defined processes is the most important thing as well. One of the most important thing. And that involves more than just, we do this, I use Excel every day, so I want to automate Excel. It's not that, right? It's business process automation, right? Which someone else was mentioning, like RPA, robotic process automation. We want to move past that into business process automation, right? We want to understand whole flows rather than just, I want to automate Excel to Notion. No, I want to automate my whole HR onboarding process, right? Like for us, we wanted to automate our whole, because for Lewagon, we have a lot of placements. We work with students. We help them to transform into the tech landscape, right? So there's a lot of legal documents that we need to settle with the government. There's a lot of follow-ups that we need to do with the students as well, and that takes a lot of time, right? But it's a process that was very well defined. So my staff and I, we sat down, we identified what were all the processes, what were all the systems that we were using, what was the kind of communication that we were having with the students, documented it all down, right? Started automating minimal processes first. All right, this is what we're going to do. And over time, that just sped up the entire process 10x, right? But only because we already knew what we were doing. Okay, so as you can see here, what companies will need to do, identify your key business processes, and only after that, you'll be able to break down into sub-processes. Right? That's something that I'm doing a lot with other companies as well now. Key thing that I think both Audrey and Frank mentioned a few times is domain expertise. Right? It's not just about AI. It's not just AI coming in to do everything. Right? People are the ones who hold the knowledge. Right? Working with AI, this is something that I use a lot with everyone. Working with AI is like working with interns. Okay, interns are great. You could have the smartest intern around, right? They are very good at doing everything, but they don't hold domain knowledge, right? So if an intern is to come into your company on day one, they can help you do everything. Everything you ask them to do, they can help you to do, but not unless you tell them clearly what to do. So if you're just going to hands off and give it to interns, they're just going to do what they think is right, but Only people with the actual domain knowledge are the ones who are going to be able to train them properly. So when we decide to go down this route of transformation, it doesn't just involve your technical team. It doesn't just involve, finding the right tool or like finding something and implementing it. It's understanding the entire processes, and within those processes, who are the people working there, right? Who are the subject matter experts, and then involving them as well, asking them, how do you do this? Right? What's the process that you did for this? What are the fail points that you normally have? Okay, let's mitigate that. What's the most painful point you have now? All right, let's settle that. Right? And then once you have all that transformation in place, it involves training the staff or the people who have that domain knowledge to work with AI rather than having that replace them, because you need someone to constantly iterate and watch this AI and constantly improve. Right? So it's not just a replacement, right? That's why the MIT, I think there was an MIT report that said I think the billions of dollars poured into AI for transformation, 95% of those in the companies have actually like not yielded the effective ROI of like 2025 or 2024, right? Because of this, right? Everyone just jumped into this whole thing without going through this whole process. And lastly, like I mentioned, use the right technology. Not all that glitters is gold, right? We don't want to find any tool, configure it, and then we don't want to find any tool and try to configure our processes to it, right? We want to first understand our processes, understand all the processes, what processes cross over, right? What are all the systems that we use? Can we actually like cut down some of the systems we use? Because with automations and AI, maybe we don't need all these systems anymore. And then we need to really spend time. And this is where we need to bring in either experts, or we need to dedicate the time to really, really understand the landscape. Right? Because there's so much happening on the landscape now. There are so many products, right? We have to understand what products are out there, what are the capabilities of these products, what do we want to do, and then marry the two together. And that's where future state planning comes in as well, because it's not just about what we have now, right? It's about where we want to go to with these automations, right? What's our goal, right? Which I'll cover a bit more later. And lastly, testing, right? Because like Audrey mentioned, AI is non-deterministic. For example, how to get 10, right? 5 plus 5, 11 minus 1, that's all 10, right? But it can get more complex, right? 16 times 3 minus 8 divided by 4, that's 10. And then we have this massive, like another calculation below, which is very complicated and it's wrong, right? So this is just a very, very, very trivial way of showing how AI can be non-deterministic. There's many ways that the AI could use to try get to your goal. But sometimes the more complex the context is surrounding it, right, the higher chance that there are hallucinations, the higher chance that it might get something wrong. So with AI and using generative AI, there will always be a margin of error. No matter how small, there's always going to be that margin of error, which is why we need to commit to evaluating all our processes. Evaluate, and also finish this. All right. So lastly, preparing the team for transformation. Like I mentioned, understand your team, understand the strengths, roles, limitations of the people you have, right? Understand the business, understand the processes that you have, understand bottlenecks, right? Where is it you want to actually speed up? Where is it you want to drive value? And where applying AI will actually give you more impact? And then understand your goals, right? Now that I know my team, I know my processes, where do I want to go to, right? Do I want to speed up my tasks? Do I want to generate more revenue? Do I want to give my people more breathing room, right? Understanding the goals, understanding your people, understanding the tools allows you to marry everything together to successfully transform. Okay, that's it for me. Right. I just want everyone to really understand the whole process that goes into transformation. It's not so easy as just, I have the tools, or this is where the landscape is, this is what I'm going to do. It's a whole iterative process that could take a long time. All right, Jiri, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. We have a few questions to ask you. First one is from Tori Henderson, who is asking that a recent MIT report came out stating that 95% of enterprise AI projects are providing zero ROI. What are the 5% getting right, and how can we learn from their success? Audrey?
I mean,
or Ashley, please.
Okay.
Please,
Sorry,
please.
is it Audrey?
Oh, okay. So first of all, I'm not very surprised by the number because, as you said, they are enterprise AI projects. So by per se, they are looking for a problem when instead of trying to focus on the real business issue here. So instead of talking about the 95, I'm going to talk about the 5% where, in my humble way, I think it's successful. One, because they start with a real business problem. They don't say, oh, let's use AI and we cut errors or we speed up the process of we grow revenue. They start with a real business process. And they start small. You remember what I was saying earlier when you have to prompt one by one in order for the AI to get trained and then to avoid the hallucination, etc. So it's starting with a small part, testing, reiterating, testing. And then if it works, you integrate that into the workflow. I think also that one of the reasons why the 5% are successful is because they have their data in order. It's as silly as that. I think Frank was saying garbage in, garbage out, but if your data is wrong, your outcome is going to be wrong. So if you have clean data, then the process integrated of AI into the workflow is applied to clean data, and then it's been tested and it's successful, so then you apply it. And the last one, I think, is because you treat AI as you treat your staff. You don't go to, and Ashley was mentioning that earlier, you don't treat your staff as domain knowledge people and you put a layer of AI. You put the AI into the team to speed up this productivity once it's been tested a lot and the outcome on the small project has been successful. And then you use the domain knowledge to overlook, and then you can expand. So I don't know if I've gotten the entirety of the answers, but I think MIT says, you said enterprise project. So are you looking for a tech solution based on AI? When actually the real question would be, would MIT give the same numbers if it was applied to real problem solving? In English, it's real solving problem. And then you grow from it. You create the foundation, you test, reiterate, integrate that into your workflow with your staff, giving them the control. And once it's successful, then you expand.
Ashley, what do you think?
Agreed. I think the data point is a huge thing. One of the supporting documents from the report as well was I can't remember the company themselves, but they had, I think, 15 years of data that they had to try clean and provide to the agent, but that in itself became too expensive. It was just too expensive to crunch 15 years of data to feed into the system. So I think it's really understanding the data. You want to use the data you have, and one of the points Audrey said, right, which I am gonna like double, triple down on, is also most of these 90%, or rather, if you look at the 5% of companies, right, that were successful, it wasn't because they reduced headcount. It wasn't because it was, we transformed our whole company to run off a single AI or something. A lot of it was pegging and improving their processes, improving their people to double up on their revenue, to double up on their value points, right? Rather than cutting overheads. So I think that's one of the key points that a lot of people are missing with this digital transformation. Right? It's not so much about replacing people, it's augmenting and leveraging them.
Thank you. And the question is from Lai Ping Chan. The question is, in AI adoption, and given AI will always have a margin of error, even after testing, should organizations really aim for zero error, and what margin is acceptable?
Anyone wants to take this?
In AI adoption, given AI will always have a margin of error, even after testing, should organizations really aim for zero error? And if not, what margin is acceptable? What do you think?
Maybe I'll take this question first, right? Then Ashley and Audrey can do later, right? So I think this question is really dependent on how important is it for you to have very exact data. In the sense of for Audrey, because you're in the finance space, right? I think these numbers are very, very important. You can't get this wrong because that will really impact your commitment and integrity of data, right? So let's not do that first, because you need to be really mature in the AI adoption curve for a company. Get all your people, your process, your models all ready before you start that journey. Rather, we talk about low-hanging fruits first. If you're not ready, let's go for the ones that whereby the reliability and consistency of data is not that important. That's why we talk about going for sales, going for marketing, because a lot of this is really generating content that doesn't matter if it speeds by 0.5%, 1%, 2% as a margin of error. Go for those that can take a margin of error and use that as your first entry to improve your processes, to adopt AI tools, right? In that case, you will pick up momentum. Remember, we all start from level 1, right? If you're not a level 20, don't go and kill a level 20 monster. Start your level 1 first. Go for those easy to adopt before you go deeper.
And next question is about measuring transformation success. Digital initiatives can be long and complex. What KPIs or metrics do you recommend for tracking the success of a transformation? How can we measure ROI beyond cost savings? For example, improvements in decision speed, customer satisfaction, and so on.
So I think this comes down from the whole process audit, right? Your whole company audit, right? When you understand your processes, something that I do with all my other like automation clients is when they say they want to automate something, I ask them, all right, what is the bottleneck that you're trying to solve, right? Bottleneck or value proposition, the value point. If you can identify a value point within this process, we can center the automations and the transformations towards that. Or if there's bottleneck, okay, then we can focus the transformation to reduce that, right? But there's always that key goal, right? So it's something that it's not something easy to just throw out like that, because the goal for each process is different, right?
Yeah, I would add. So this week we were doing some stuff, right? And we were using Agentic AI coding machines. A coding machine or an AI agent can literally write 60,000 lines of code in more than an hour, just an hour. There's no human who can do that. None.
Mm-hmm.
My KPI will be more on, if we integrate, as I said since the beginning, the AI agent with my AIT developer, my KPI would not be to say to the developer, you check the code and you read each single line because it's not going to make sense. My KPI will be, okay, as a team, you and the AI, you look, you reiterate the code, you test, you unbug, you see if it works. And your KPI would be, do you think there is a possibility to take this task, precise task, and link it to another one so that it becomes together more efficient? So again, as Ashley just said, I think the KPIs can still be put on human because humans are supervising at the end. And it depends on are you talking IT? Are you talking marketing? Are you talking sales? I think KPI can still be applied. The way you look at KPIs is no longer on productivity because Agentic AI or AI is here to help the human. Is how can you be more innovative because you can be smarter, quicker, but you still have this domain knowledge to improve the trajectory of the company. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm not sure putting KPIs on robotic or AI agent makes a lot of sense. They are here to be productive, to be quick and agile so that the human can make smarter decisions.
Thank you. The last question is about workforce upskilling for AI. As AI and automation reshape jobs, how can we proactively reskill or upskill our workforce so employees can work alongside AI effectively?
So I think there was something that Frank said, right, where the future is AI translators. So I recently gave a talk as well, where the term I used was AI consultants, right, where I spoke about what I see as the great correction down the line, where what I feel is there's a lot of vibe coded stuff out there. There's a lot of AI stuff out there that has been pushed out without pairing it with this domain knowledge. So it's very brittle AI. And when the next shift comes, there's going to be a lot of changes that all these AI solutions are going to have to make, but that the people with the domain knowledge are not there. They're not in those companies, they're not in those products to actually make those. So I think if we're talking about moving forward, it's not just about learning, oh, what's the hottest tools out there. It is, right? But it's not just that. It's okay, I am a medical practitioner, or I am in engineering, or I have my domain knowledge. How do I upskill with the latest technologies and apply that to my domain? And in doing that, I become very marketable to become a consultant, or I am the one who's going to be able to provide all these solutions to this domain, because it's more than just technical skills already. It's technical skills married with domain expertise.
Yeah, and sorry, Frank.
Sorry, Audrey, carry on first.
So just a word, I think through my journey that I shared with you guys, there is like step by step, pretty much what we did, what we should have done, what we didn't do, and how we defined and to come to a narrow step by step. But happy to help anyone if it can be helpful.
Yeah, Frank over here. So I think this question can be answered by AI Singapore if they're in this call. So AI Singapore is a government organization, and Singapore is all about productivity, growth of the people, right? Every Singaporean have that skills future budget. I mean, we're paying for the skills development levy, right? As employers. So all these go into the skills future fund, whereby and into credits to send your staff to AI training. So that's what we do as well in JDI for all our Singapore staff. I have a champion. I tell the champion, you go to AI Singapore, you see what are the modules out there that can be taken. It's free. I mean, because if you have Singapore, they can go for it for free or 90%, right? They have credits for that. That is the lowest hanging fruit. Get them all to go for that. My wife was the head of digital transformation in Syngenta. So she also find that, hey, there's AI coming up. So she went for the AI course over in Singapore. I mean, it's really sponsored until that's you pay only a few $100 to get that through. So that enables your staff to go there. It's a cheap, fast, easy way to get on it, because this is aligned to the Singapore agenda, right, of increasing productivity. Go for that first, and those who have went for it already can bring back some of the culture, and therefore instill more of that training in the company itself. I know if you go online, there's Udemy, etc., that has come with platforms for online training. So I think Singapore Skills Future do give some credits for those courses as well. So yes, get them all onto it, and then later on you can start when you start adopting AI. That becomes part of your maybe every monthly or your town hall. That's when you start to push more of that and ask everybody to take up an AI project. For them to take up AI project, they must learn, right? So they have to learn to increase some of the KPIs, to hit some of the KPIs for AI-based activity in the company. But all in all, we get to zoom back in. The head must lead. The company must have that culture. It must be driven top down before the rest of the staff in the company will follow this.
I second that. AI Singapore is fantastic.
If I can just leave with one more thing as well, it's that everyone has to practice. Everyone has to try it out, because it's no use just coming to like these kind of talks, and you could attend dozens of these kind of talks, right? But you really, really cannot fathom the kind of transformation, the kind of capabilities that AI has right now, unless you actually try it out. Try out a small automation. Try out the products out there now. And when I say this, it's because like you really don't understand what can be done with like AI right now. So you have to actually just try it out. Something small, but it starts from there.
Thank you so much. Bita?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. It's me again. What an insightful conversation. I'm quite sure everyone enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. So if you enjoyed it, we're not in a virtual environment. We're not in a physical environment. We can't hear your applause. I would ask that, you give the panel a thumbs up through the emoji reaction buttons that you can find in your panel now so that they can see, whoa, there you go. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, once again, it's been a pleasure to have everyone here today. We've heard candid and practical insights from our Tech Transformation Resource Group. Insights have gone beyond technology, and it speaks about people, it speaks about culture, it speaks about leadership, and the courage to experiment. So if 2025 has taught us anything, it's that digital transformation is not a one-time project. It is a continuous journey, as we have heard from our distinguished speakers today. It's been shaped by collaboration, adaptation, and definitely learning. The experiences today, the successes, the missteps, the unexpected outcomes are exactly what it is to help our community move forward together. As you take these learnings back to your own organizations, I sincerely encourage you to act on them quickly. AI, it's actually micro changes. It's not a long-term leap. So do identify small wins, empower your teams, and continue building a culture that supports thoughtful innovation. And please stay connected with our community here at SICC. Stay connected. If you haven't joined the Tech Transformation Group, sign up and join this Tech Transformation Resource Group. This is a community designed to help you navigate the changes with more confidence. Last but not least, on behalf of our SICC and the Chamber, we want to thank our distinguished speakers for their honesty and their generosity. And to all of you here, my fellow members, friends, partners, and supporters, thank you for your engagement and your commitment. We want to wish every one of you success as you turn today's insights into your 2026 competitive advantage. And with that, I call the session to a close. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you again on upcoming programs at SICC. Thank you all, and have a pleasant year-end ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.